Hello, good evening, it's Sunday. It is the 18th of October and it is 17:37. And we are had a busy weekend. We've missed flying, so we're going to get a quick VFR flight in on Twitch, and we will be flying out of Bristol and towards Shoreham. We are in GA parking. We are in the default Cessna 172. Our call sign is not what it says on the plane. It's Golf Romeo Echo Whiskey Yankee. We've got London South Centre online and Norway control. And let's get this show on the road. So, no controllers are at Bristol, and if we flick over to Plan G, which is here, you can see there we are at Bristol, and Shoreham is down near Brighton and south of Gatwick. So where it should be, where you can see where it says Brighton, obviously my useless mouse control. There we are, EGKA. If we actually took it off locked mode in Plan G, it would stay on it longer than a second. There we go, so we can do a quick tour of the shoreline from Bognor out to Brighton. We should be passing Goodwood, and if we pass Goodwood and the Goodwood VOR, that will help us keep on track. But we're flying visually, so we need to look out for roads, landmarks and the like. Flip you over to EFB, Electronic Flight Bag, and you can see there we are on just off Taxiway Hotel. We would be blocking the way if we were at a busy airport, or if this was busy. And departure, I mean this is a direct line down to Shoreham, and we will be passing through Gatwick controlled zone if we flew above a certain altitude, but we should be missing that altitude, so we should be okay. Although if we wanted to, we could fly through it. We need to be Class D is 1,500 to 2,500, so if we fly below that we should be okay, but we'll try and avoid it altogether. Looking on EFB, you can see is that Liverpool is online, Gatwick's online, Stansted, is that Heathrow? Right, so we'll do our airplane checks, which is a walk around, but no damages are simulated in this. So we assume all that's okay. Down to our lights, fuel pump goes to on, beacon goes to on, nav lights go to on, parking brake goes to set, like so. Throttle goes in a little bit, mixture goes in all the way, and then we shout clear prop to anyone around. We shut our door like so, and then we can start our engines. So I can flick between the 2D panel for this, and then throttle goes in a bit more and everything comes alive. What's LTC? London Control. We got some funny, always different, isn't it? Anyway, COM 1 goes to 122.80 because there's no controllers online. We'll put a flight plan into VFR. VFR to Shoreham. Twitch TV in our comments. And we are a Cessna 172. EGGD is our starting, EGKA. We will departing at 1700 Zulu, probably just a bit before. Our cruising altitude, well, max probably about 5,000 feet, but that's a maximum, and our cruise speed will be about 120 knots, or probably just a bit under 110. File flight plan. We squawk 7,000, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we put mode Charlie to on. Then we set our pitch down to takeoff. We look at our runway. And what winds have we got? EGGD 18162. Which is likely runway 09. But I'm not seeing my weather loaded into EFB at the moment. We'll just double check that then on flight radar. And see what's happening in the southwest. And yeah, they are landing 09. Easy 31 Romeo Kilo just landing. I've done a nice little loop there, it seems, onto runway 09. And KLM is from Bristol off to Amsterdam off 09 as well, so we are 09. Which means we'll have to backtrack, enter the runway at hotel and backtrack as far as we need, or we can cross the runway onto Delta, go down to Zulu, enter at Foxtrot, and that should give us enough room for takeoff. So we'll see, there's another traffic. Hello Mitz, you alright? Why so loud all the time? I know. Come and say hello. Good girl, aren't you? Hey, who's a good noisy girl? Right, what other checks do we need? We need our QNH, which is 1021 or 301.5, which is there. Runway in use was 09, so we set that onto an easterly direction. Flaps down to 10 degrees. And then we can check our mags. Is that simulated in this default? Never mind. Just to help us out, we are flying VFR, but we've got some flight aids. And the first is a ADF. Alright, Mittens. And our ADF is 414. 3, 4, 1, and that's changed. And if we wanted it, our navigation aid would be 110.15, like so. That then gives us our DME. Yeah, again, VFR, we should fly by our eyes and our ears, but we've got a little bit of helping hand if we need. Okay, so let's take that 2D panel off. Let's get back in our pilot seat. Let's send a message out to anyone at Bristol that cares. EGGD in GA parking, taxiing, hotel, crossing runway 2709 onto Delta, Zulu, Foxtrot, expecting runway 094 T/O. Okay, so back to our lights. Taxi lights then go to on, and then we start trundling. Oh, come on, easy dart, we don't want mouse. Look. Oh. Stay there. There we go. Right, so parking brake go to off. Turn ourselves around. And off we go. So we go slowly and then we test our brakes, which are fine. Then we got full left, full right, full up, full down. We keep an eye to see if any controllers come online, but we're okay. So on departure it will be a right-hand turnout, and we'll be looking to leave the controlled zone via the Chew Valley VRP. So we're going to take a look on to our left and right. Nothing is coming in. Nothing is lining up, so we will cross the runway. Now that other piece of traffic's gone, we could have done a backtrack, but we'll continue with what we said. So out to the left, nothing. Out to the right, nothing. Crossing the runway onto taxiway Delta. Oh, major slowdown. The last place you want to be slowing down is on the runway. Then we look left and we look right. Normally we'd have a ground service. And we will taxi left onto Zulu. And then left onto Foxtrot coming up. Seems always a bit of a chore when the westerly isn't in use, but we do what we must. Down here. And then Foxtrot X-ray. We hold. Start our power up test. Type in a message, EGGD entering runway 094. Take off from Foxtrot X-ray. Departing south. Lights are strobe light, pitot heat and landing lights. Taxi light I guess goes to off. And we are ready to go. So we line up on the runway. Hello, eyebrow sweet boy. What's all that about? Hello to you. Welcome along. So we turn to face left. And then we're happy we're on the centre line. Throttle goes up to full. .60 knots. Ooh. What's up, man? Nothing's up, I'm flying. Look at that. Bye bye Bristol. So flaps go up to 0. Suppose we put our landing lights off because we're not landing. Fuel pump can go off because we got gravity. And then we find the Chew Valley VRP to leave the zone. So 1,100 feet. We don't want to get above 1,500 feet, which is normally the restriction. Nice. Welcome on. Are you into FSX, X-Plane, P3D, V1, 2, 3, 4? Or it only goes up to 3, doesn't it? So we got some photo scenery. And we need to find a large reservoir which is off to our southeast. So there's a big reservoir. So we'll head for that and trim ourselves up so we don't breach 1,500 feet. Which is round about. No, just a little bit up a bit. And we've missed it. So you get told off by the controllers at this point. Okay, so we're off to Shoreham. Now Shoreham's a lovely airport down on the south coast in Shoreham near Brighton. It was there many years ago, well 2011, that I went to a flight simulator show there and discovered Vatsim. This is kind of like a pilgrimage flight. Nice plane. Thanks, mate. It's the default. It's the default Cessna 172. Doesn't have any failures or anything like that, but it works very well. So another restriction is Yeovilton. So we can either fly below 2,000 or above 5,000. And I vote for flying above 5,000. So we can fly about 5,500 feet to be clear of any restrictions there. Are you buy or download that game? If you're quick at the moment, it's on Steam, the FSX Steam edition. But I purchased this, I bought this ages ago, the DVD version. Right, so we'll start our climb. And we need to be above 5,000 feet for Yeovilton. But the scenery is photograph scenery, and that was a another purchase. I'm being buffeted all over the place. Oh dear, we've lost. we have lost VFR flying. So the other option was flying below 2,000 feet, which, where are we? We may have to do. So let's go below 2,000 feet then. We can put our throttles back a little bit. And we will fly into Wells and Shepton Mallet and pick up the A37. I can't see. There we go. So we'll have to fly below the cloud then, otherwise we won't be able to see where we're going. So where's the A37? It is off to our left. So if we head kind of southeast, we should pick it up. Ryan F 20,000, hello, how are you? Happy Sunday to you. Right, so we are in this restriction now. We have to keep below 2,000 feet. I think there's a is it a training for something? Army? And we kind of have to figure out where we're going now, so let's look at plan G. We need to head towards south. Yeah, no, I'm great, thanks. Really, really good. I was going to say it's my first flight of the weekend, so I thought I'd do a little bit of VFR online. And we are flying in the default Cessna 172. We are flying down to Shoreham. So what's Bournemouth? What have we got? Bournemouth 339. Let's straighten our wings. And oh, we're losing sight again. And let's dial in 3, 3, 9. We're not close enough at the moment. So we need to fly a bit more south. We've got our heading bug. Desperately trying not to use autopilot. We kind of head in this general direction. Oh, we're above 2,000. got to look at everything, haven't you? You're trying to admire the photographic scenery and got to keep control of your plane as well. I'm not very good at multitasking, obviously. So we're just trying to keep the plane trimmed. So we're heading towards Frome in Somerset, and then just beyond that is Warminster. And we're breaching 2,000 again. So we picked up the Bournemouth ADF. So if we head towards that arrow, and then fly in that direction, and we're above 2,000 again. How embarrassing. So it's now saying surface to 6,000 feet. And then it's saying, oh, the different areas. This one is 2,500, and then the second one is 8,000. So we're okay as we are. The Overton's got a lot of airspace, haven't they, near Bristol? There we go, that is nice and level. We're happy. Let's look around the plane. Oh, we've gone off track. I leave the plane for 1 second and it goes off track. So Frome is off to our left. We can see we're crossing one of the A roads, whatever this one is, which would be the A303, I think. No, the A303 is the next A road we cross that goes from east to west. And so this is our ADF arrow. We're tuned into Bournemouth 339. So the idea is that if we follow that arrow, it'll be straight down to Bournemouth. If we get time, we'll do a little touch and go. No, Frome, yeah, we're still in Wiltshire, aren't we? No, Somerset. Shepton Mallet's in Somerset. Warminster's in Wiltshire. Westbury's in Wiltshire. We haven't had to use autopilot yet. Happy days. So this is a good way to travel, isn't it? You wouldn't know where you could land if you're visiting friends, but getting across the vast southwest, it's probably the best way to travel. Do we need to lean out our mixture? Right, let me take you on to the map. So there we are, coming up to the A303 and Mere, past Shepton Mallet, you've got Shaftesbury, there's some plane over at Boscombe Down. And then we'll continue kind of southeasterly It's very civilised. Fly my little Cessna. I should actually change my Rex textures at some point, something a bit more wintry. We'll see what they got. Let's tune into Bournemouth. What have we got? 110.5. 110.50. And 27.1 nautical miles. If we fly out of the controlled zone at Mere, then we can gain a bit of altitude. Okay, let's start our climb. There we go, so we'll try and keep our airspeed on 60 knots, and then we can climb, we'll be climbing at 800, 900 feet a minute. Just reset our air pressure. Press B, obviously the cheeky way to do it in the Cessna. Still got some cloud ahead, but we're managing to climb without being right in it. That's 3,500 feet. That'll do for now. We'll trim ourselves. Not sure how high we can go without getting into that cloud. So if you leave the plane like that, then it should level itself off. Oh, we're turning again. Stay. Alright, let's Trim ourselves down a bit. See the moon. This grey cloud. There we go, so it's stay about there, 4,000 feet. Right, we are overhead, well, just north of Shaftesbury. We'll be passing Compton Abbas, which is that a grass or tarmac airstrip? Grass. 801 metres by 30 metres of grass. So that's at our 12 o'clock. Any controllers online? Nope. Straighten ourselves up. Right, we need to just turn a bit more to the right. Make sure the ADF is pointing. And we'll know we're going in the right direction when we see the sea. Did anyone see Compton Abbas? It's sort of like off to our right. There it is, it's kind of down there. Let's get down a bit lower then, we'll go and have a look. There we go, looks like a nice location. Winds are from 065, so we would be landing there. I'm not sure if I've purchased that, I mean, have a look. Anyway, let's start our climb out. What is Compton Abbas? EGHA. What other Orbeck stuff did I buy? I hate when you lose track. EG. Right, Bournemouth should be straight ahead. Maybe I didn't. I need to revisit what I've actually purchased. Where's my little ADF arrow? It's pointing off to heading a 330. We are north of Blandford Forum, and if we want to do a join, we can do a right base join for runway 08. Which we might as well do that then. Thanks for the follow, Eyebrows, sweet boy. Much appreciated. What's that airfield? Boscombe Down. Blackbush, Ockham, Fair Oaks. Maybe it was Fair Oaks. AK. Nope. I'm just looking at airports and guessing now. Thank you for what was that for? That was for Exeter. That was for Active Sky. That was for Aerosoft Airbus. It's not really good to be looking at emails and flying. That's as bad as being on your mobile phone and driving. Anyway, we've gone slightly off. So let's just pretend we were trying to join base leg. That's Blandford Forum down there. M3RM0Z, whatever that says. How are you? Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. What's the weather like today? Well, you can see I've got Active Sky Next loaded in. So we got a lovely evening, but I'm a couple of hours back, just so I got some daylight flying in this VFR flight. But a few clouds and a nice sunset coming up. What's the weather like where you are? Right, we need to turn left. And we can follow this road. This road here, which should take us south. And that road should help us join the localizer. And we are 13.3 nautical miles out. It says Mermoz. I'll try and remember that. Wikipedia the name one day. I will. All these modern names with numbers in. I just can't keep up. So 12 miles, so we're trying just start descending a little bit, and we should be able to see the airport. Then we will take off, join the coastline, so if we head kind of southeast now to there, follow to where that patch of water is just before the sea, and that's round about right. I think you can see the airfield just there. But after that, then we'll take off and we'll head towards Shoreham. Blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. ORD. Sitting reserve for hotel. Sitting reserve today, hotel life. Wow, okay. You know the rule of thumb for descent planning on a 3-degree path? No, but tell us, it's like 1,000 feet for every 3 miles or something like that? I did buy a handbook, which is kind of maths formulas for pilots. It read it, but I never really got around to using it in anything. So we'll carry on descending. Exactly, very practical. Oh, did I get it right? There's a turn up. So we'll descend some more now, just reduce our airspeed. There's Bournemouth. Well, Pool's straight ahead, so that would be Pool Quay and all around that water area there. Bournemouth is a bit further to the left. Do we need to worry about any controllers? London's online, London North's online, London South, and Scottish is online. Oh, that's all very good. Let's knock our airspeed back again. And we should descend a bit more. So 3,000 feet. Might get told off by a controller here, but we'll carry on. Hi, I'm SSD. Hello. You know, pilots worry much less about controllers than the controllers do about pilots. Yeah. See, London Control would control kind of all the airports in the UK, but because I am a little plane and I'm squawking 7,000 and I don't think Bournemouth ever gets busy, I don't think it's a problem. If I was kind of approaching Gatwick, Heathrow... Are you on FSX Steam Edition? No, this is the DVD edition from yesteryear. It's the default FSX Cessna 172, but it's the Just Flight VFR photo scenery. Yeah, I mean, let me look on Vatastic. Is he busy? No. And there was a departure to Ibiza, but that was 2 hours 51 minutes ago. Right, there's the runway. Let's mute those fantastic sounds. Ears. Right, so we can... First stage of flap down. Oh, Stig fan, hello. There we go, how's that? Your ears will tell you to stop diving when you descend at a higher rate. It starts becoming noticeably uncomfortable. Yeah, no, I'd imagine it would. So this is just a quick pit stop. Bournemouth EGHI, is it? And then we will just do a touch and go and head out towards our final destination, which was Shoreham. If we get a bit of time, we can do a quick tour around the area. What is it? EGHH then is... Yeah, EGHH, thank you. EGHI is Southampton, EGHH is Bournemouth. Tip, don't flare too much, the Cessna is gentle, thank you very much. Oh, bit floaty. Okay, full throttle. Flaps up to 10. 60 knots. Off we go again. Right, so let's go out towards the coastline. Not too bad, but you're stalling because the nose pitched to come up at the end of a tail strike. Oh, I knew I wasn't going to get a compliment from you. Right, so we've got a VRP of Bournemouth, and that is down south now. And then our next... So we could go out to the Isle of Wight, where we've got Bembridge. What's the ADF? 426. Four, two, six. I'm sure he'll explain. So if we aim, if we aim towards the Isle of Wight, then we can hang back in towards I'm still a flight instructor, instrument, multi, and have 4 time ratings. That's a trump card, isn't it? Wow. Tell us more, Mermoz. That sounds really, really interesting. I'm absolutely flattered and honoured that you're watching me on this. So this is Bournemouth. And then we'll follow. What are our restrictions here? We got Class D 3,500 feet to the Solent, and then Class D 3,500 feet to 5,500 feet, and then we'll fly into fresh water on the Isle of Wight. Career change instructed in the 90s. Oh wow! Is that when planes were really planes? Got my ATP. Wow. Dan the student, hello. Are you still a student, or is that just a clever name? Oh, we're losing light. This is where you need a type rating for night flying. Then career change. Tech field in the UK, ended up working at the BT headquarters. Okay. I am a student. This is like one of the sightseeing flights. A little coastal flight. 100 quid for half an hour. Don't know why my sea's so purple. Could be toxic. So, Mermoz, I'm still a flight instructor, so what planes are you flying in at the moment? Then mobile app startup in the US and finally back into flying several years back, instructed less than a year ago to get back into it, and 3 regionals after. You typed on the CRJ-8, oh you flew the Q400, E170 and E190. Flying the E175, wow! That sounds amazing, that really, really does sound good. Tell me more about the Q400s, I do like that plane. I've sadly flew, just for the want of flying on one, I flew as a passenger out of Exeter to London City. I've always wanted to fly into London City, and flying out of Exeter was really good too. So I had a right day, fantastic day with my dad on that one. Wind 044 at 9 knots, so a slight crosswind for us. Well, it's more of a, actually, I don't know what it's called, just off to our nose. Oh, Dan, Dash 8 is one of my favourite planes, would love to fly one for a living. You never thought they would catch on, you know, when the world was going, you know, changing to jets, regional jets, and the, you know, thanks to Flybe, you see them, you know, at a lot of airports around the UK. It's amazing. Flew it at Horizon Air, part of the Alaska Air Group. Which, if that's part of the Alaska Air Group, this leads on to another question. How does the Q400 deal with icing? Because I thought the, you know, obviously in cold countries, lots of surfaces to ice up. And it's still got kind of boots, isn't it, on the front of the wing? Crazy Canadian engineers. Whoever thought about sticking 10,000 horsepower on a Dash 8 airframe was clearly drunk. I thought it was for redundancy, wasn't it, that it can fly happily on one engine. Or were they meant to extend it so the engine still cope with a larger airframe? Either way, it seems like a great idea to me. Right, we are nearly over the Isle of Wight. Then we can find, we've got Newport, and then there's 2 airfields, isn't there? So we've got a Sandown, which is a grass strip, and then Bembridge, which does have a short concrete runway. Indeed, no hot wings, it's got boots on the leading edge and heated props. Okay, is that enough though in colder climates, like obviously northern Canada and so on? And I do feel sorry for Bombardier at the moment. I really, really, really like their new... How long have you been into flight simulation? Thank you, Dan. Years and years and years. I've been into flight simulation probably 20, dare I give my age away? Probably for about 20 years, but only really got kind of, into flying IFR, VFR and Vatsim about 5 years ago. Whereas before I wouldn't ever pay attention, I'd just use the default GPS unit to fly from place to place. But then I discovered Vatsim, and then I discovered FMCs, FMSs, Navigraph, nav data, and yeah, kind of been flying a lot using that. So it's taken ages to build up my flight simulation to what it is today. It's taken a hell of a lot of time, effort, system crashes, flight sim crashes to get kind of this is nice, isn't it? We got the photo scenery. No problem in icing, however, like everyone, there can be conditions where you have to get the hell out of it. Rare though, never saw it, but flew with pilots who had interesting tales flying in Alaska and the Pacific Northwest. Dan, well, that's dedication. Thank you. How long have you been into flight simulation? And yeah, so Bombardier, the C series, absolutely love the look of that plane. Love the cockpit inside. It just seems so modern. But unfortunately, it seems at a time that fuel is a lot cheaper. People are managing to pick up second-hand Airbuses and Boeing 737s, which is cheaper than buying a new C series, which is a real shame. So I don't know how long they're going to float. Keep kind of pumping money into it. I'd be sorry to see that go to waste. You about 1 year and a half. That's good. And what is your simulation? FSX, P3D, X-Plane or other? And a question to Mermoz. In VFR flying, do you still have to fly, if obviously is it the north and west even and south and east odd? Does that still apply to VFR flying? P3D mainly. And what version are you at, Dan? We're going to lose light, aren't we, before we get to Shoreham? Uh, 2.5. And as you are a student, you get to do the academic license. Lucky thing. We slowed right down. We've got I reckon, a headwind now. 046 degrees. Severe icing in a freezing rain layer going down at night over the Cascade Mountain range of North Seattle. Heated windshield is solidly iced over. Tiny open spot on the side window of the captain. They knew the wings were packing too, but they made it okay. Sweated a bit, but no problem. It got a bit warmer lower. Maybe the sweat would have helped melt the ice. Yes, you have the academics, so lucky. Yeah, it's bad enough in a car, isn't it, if you don't get your ventilation right, that your windshield takes ages to clear up. You're dreading the day I'm no longer a student. Well, if you complete your exams and do well, you'll get a job where that won't be a problem. Right, let's have a quick look at the controllers online again. Nothing really to worry about. Oh, Jersey control, or Jersey zone is online. That's good. And fantastic. Am I the only person going into EGKA? Yeah. So I shouldn't worry about other traffic just yet. Still haven't been pinged by the controllers. So we are happy. Okay, VFR is the same. 0 to 179 odd plus 500 feet, 180 to 359 even plus 500 feet, and that's on a track, not heading. Dan, well, I'm hoping to go to college and then university. Will be a student for a long time. So maybe when you finish, there'll be P3D version 5 out. And hopefully that'll be 64-bit and solve all the problems we have with the 32-bit system. So I need to be odd plus 500 feet, which is there, bang on. Or odd plus 500 so we can be lower. Right, so we'll head on to the Bognor Regis VRP, and then Shoreham is on a heading of well, we're tuning into the ADF, which is 332. Is that right? 332, yeah. That's FAA ward. It really applies more than 300 feet AGL if I remember correctly, but even lower everybody follows the rules when cruising, so that IFR traffic is in between. Okay, thank you for that. I only bought prepared because I could get the academic. If I couldn't, I would have stuck with FSX. Yeah, no, it's expensive. I've said on this, be right back, gotta check. Cheap Twitch Turbo. Well, let's not spam me with these, so I've been told to time out user for 600 seconds, and if they come back... Yeah, so what I've said before is I'm very tempted by X-Plane, and I'm tempted by X-Plane because it's already 64-bit. The two guys I fly with mainly on a Tuesday use X-Plane, and they get along really well with it. It's got lots of support, lots of forums. Hello, how are you? Are you alright, QQ bestest? Good evening. We are over the Isle of Wight flying VFR to Shoreham. Whereas prepared is £130 UK sterling. It's then a case of waiting. I mean, I suppose the developers are on top of getting installers for the for version 3. And it does... Yeah, what I said is correct. Thank you, Nermos. And it does fix a lot of bugs. However, it kind of... The biggest one for me is the loading and unloading of scenery, which should impress my memory here. Yeah, so speaking of memory, let's bring up Fibre Accelerator. %54 efficient. Okay, 30 frames a second. What was I saying? Yeah, you're paying 130 quid. Then with PMDG products, you need to pay supposedly again for the license for the prepared compatible ones. And then if they go to 64-bit, you probably have to pay again for all your other planes because they're not going to work. Whereas if you go to X-Plane, you know, whatever you buy is likely to work with that version and future versions, especially if it's 64-bit. Right, so at EGKA we have lots of runways, but we're aiming for the asphalt runway, which will be 020. And that should be the runway that is south to north. You have X-Plane but no add-ons. Yeah, I'm going to wait till it appears in the Steam sale and buy it, and then eventually buy an SSD drive to put it on. runway 02. Activate and arrival direct to. Oh, well off track. Not paying attention is that. So we got Southampton to our left. I have to look at Plan G to make sure. Yeah, we're not infringing on anyone's airspace. Is that a cruise ship out to the left? Oh, night time. And our ADF's picked up Shoreham. So we can kind of follow the coastline. Yeah, Portsmouth, I can't even say it, Portsmouth Harbour there. That runway out of our window there is Leon Solent. That's the tarmac runway. So let's start a slow descent, and we can see that we are 20. Oh, we need to tune into the VOR at Shoreham. 109.9. Is it that? Yeah, no, that is right. So 30.5 nautical miles. You're thinking about getting the 757 for X-Plane. Well, yeah, no, Steve, who I fly with, has got that for X-Plane, and he loves flying it. He's enjoys flying the DHL cargo flights. And it looks like excellent. One other thing they showed me was a 737 Classic, and the detail on that looks phenomenal. So they're looking forward to that one coming out as well. I always wanted to like X-Plane, but really FSX and especially P3D3 is now a platform that offers so much more possibilities in terms of flight simulation that I do not see the value of X-Plane. The dynamic of the default planes with a control set of default is a bad joke. Worse than default FSX, which is an achievement. Yeah, I hear you. Absolutely hear you. The only reason I don't want to go down the X-Plane route is I think DirectX 12 is going to be huge, and X-Plane is obviously multi-platform and couldn't go down a route like DirectX because that's a Microsoft thing. So we see, I don't know how they ever kind of like, if someone brought like a 980 Ti or a Titan Z, or not that I can afford any of that at the moment, but are they going to get the same benefits in X-Plane as someone in P3D would get? I don't know. I should probably trim my back. I'm talking. I should. Yeah, hold on then. I want to descend, so thank you for that. Right, Goodwood should be off to our left inland a bit. Feel like a search and rescue plane out at the coastline like this. It's exciting, isn't it? What have we got? We need to be above 1,700 feet before we hit the approach. So I wanted to start flying online. Which service do you think is better, Vatsim or iVeo? Do you have a YouTube or just Twitch? Yeah, I just have Twitch. Is there still a Festival of Speed every year at Goodwood? I think so. I'd need to check on the website. Trim my plane. Let's do that first. I just need to go up a bit. Yeah, no, I've looked into YouTube Gaming. So I do upload some highlights onto a YouTube, which is the same name as my Twitch account. So if you look out for that, there's a few videos on there. Nothing like, obviously, the quality of Bellens, which is what I aspire to. And there is YouTube Gaming, which offers live streaming like Twitch, but I haven't investigated that yet. However, I think I've got this OBS software cracked, so I will look into that a bit more. As for flying online, what you need to do is you'll have to look at iVeo yourself. Vatsim is, how can I put it, overwhelming, maybe a little bit unfriendly to start with, but once you pick things up, it is good. What you don't want to be doing is logging on to Gatwick without a clue, logging on to Heathrow without a clue. It really is better to start at the smaller airports that have just a controller online that isn't busy, that you can just ping some private messages and get a bit of tuition. So I would recommend Vatsim, but only because I've flown on Vatsim. I can't not recommend iVeo because I haven't flown on iVeo. But I mean, it depends on, you know, if you've got a headset and mic and you wanted to kind of listen into what me, Steve and Simon do, you're more than welcome to do that. So we've got this kind of lip out in the sea, and when that goes back in, we will... my first Vatsim fight, I landed the wrong way. Yeah, no, it's easily done. There's so much. There is so much to learn. And there's going to be mistakes, but like I say, you don't want to make those mistakes and annoy long-term users. I mean, some of the no-nos are you don't ever start and log on when you're on the runway. You need to know the terminology. You need to log on at a less busy airport just to get your bearings. But once you've got all of that, it is really good. It is superb. And like I say, if you logged on tonight, London Control covers all of UK airspace. In other words, you should be able to do a flight from, say, Gatwick up to Newcastle or Liverpool, and you'll have full ATC coverage. Which means you need to know how to fly your plane as well. In other words, the default planes don't really cut it, in my opinion, and you need to purchase something like the PMDG 737, the Q400 from Majestic, and you need to learn how to use the onboard computer to put in a route, to fly that route, to be given commands, to change maybe from heading back to a waypoint, from a waypoint to a heading. Mermos says, a few years back in real life, a Delta 757 landed on a taxiway in Hartsfield by mistake and by chance did not collide with other traffic. To err is human. To I can't read that out. What if Delta come along and sponsor me? Just kidding. I thought the adage is any landing you walk away from is a good landing, even if it is on a taxiway. Right, so we look at our ADF arrow and we can see it's kind of pointing off to 320 degrees. We've gone past that little bit of the coast that jets out into the sea, and if we turn onto a heading of 080, that should take us to the approach for 02 at Shoreham. and 1,700 feet we should be above. So it's getting dark now, so we'll get into trouble if we couldn't see. No night rating. Kind of need to cover up our screen and just look at our controls like that. Yeah, if you look at my previous videos, we've done loads and loads and loads of Vatsim flights, so have a look on those and see what you think. I haven't subscribed, so I'm not a turbo user yet, so my videos get deleted quite quickly. But like I said, I've put a few highlights on YouTube. Okay, 19.1 nautical miles away. And it tells me a speed reference, says I'm doing 92 knots. Which is kind of right, because we're going 100 knots, but we kind of got a headwind of roughly 10 degrees. And I hope the airport's lit up. That's another disappointment in FSX is X-Plane definitely wins over night flights and night lighting. Inadvertently climbed again. Right, lots of Gatwick traffic. Don't know if we can see them yet. They're kind of showing on my electronic flight bag. And the runway, if we set the heading bug then, zero. So just do a little bit of a left turn, so I kind of start flying back into the coast. I mean, to be fair, I am logged onto Vatsim now, but because I'm flying kind of this VFR flight, and because there wasn't a controller logged on at Bristol or Shoreham, it basically means I don't really have to talk to anyone. Is that it over there? We can see some lights in the distance. But that seems too much easterly, and we need kind of a northeast. Let's have a look on Plan G. Yeah, what is to our east is... So that is Goodwood. No, that is... Yeah, no, that is Goodwood. And then we've got a couple of disused fields around, so we'll head back on track to our 079 or thereabouts, and then we should pick up Shoreham. Can you see the lights of Shoreham Airfield? I think you need to pay for a night landing, don't you? So they turn the landing lights on. Slow cruise, trying to save fuel. Yeah, trying to slow down enough to land. Do I need to pay you for this flight instruction? Alright, should we? If we speed up then, it's your fault if I land too fast. I'm sure you can talk me down. I'll close my eyes and you talk me down. Right, so 12.7 nautical miles away. Keep flying along the coastline in this general direction. So that was Goodwood, that runway light over there. That thing slows very well. Is that what it's called? A flying cow. It's not as graceful as a unicorn or a Pegasus. Oh, slow down. We want our nose down. Can you see the lights of Shoreham? It's just so dark, isn't it? This is, I think in default scenery it's a bit lighter, but in the photo scenery, obviously the street lights and so on aren't placed. But then you can buy additional software from Aerosoft, which gives you the lights back. But I'm running out of SSD hard drive space. So I have learned that when it starts to get full, I thought an SSD would still remain quick, but apparently it starts to slow down, which is worrying in a way, isn't it? It's like it's gone back down to a very slow speed. Right, I think Shoreham is now at our 11 o'clock. Dan the student, thank you very much for the follow. Vatastic, because we've taken so long to get here, we'll have another look to make sure there's no... I think it's that thing over there. Not too sure. Bring up our GPS. You can see EGKA there on the coastline. And we are 8.9. There we go. Now you can see the lights. Is anyone else flying? Oh, I can't be bothered with that. Talking of unicorns, I'm still searching for the much fabled 26 hours credit 3-day trip out of ORD in the trips package. I'm not familiar with that. Tell us more. 3-day trip. Is that a joke? I don't know. Alright, we're far too high. Let's sink down. There's our runway. We bid for trip pairings, okay. Each trip can be 2 to 5 days in length. I suppose it's a, yeah, kind of a nice approach is this, flying over the sea into Shoreham. Right, so we're 2,000 feet, just check our air pressure. Carries a certain number of block hours and consequently credit that you get paid. Okay. So what we want is the shortest trips paying the most, yes. Right, there's the beautiful lights of Shoreham that we waited a long time for. So we'll slow back down to, what, 90 knots initially. Pilot late. That's such a worrying thing you said. In fact, we work quite a lot, generally 3 to 4 days on, followed by 2 to 3 days off. Okay. And duty days of 10 to 12 hours plus. I don't know how you don't get fatigued towards the end of the day. So we need to be descending, and it is a yeah, no, we need to be descending now. Right, we need our landing lights on. Taxi light can come on, fuel pump can go on in case we go around. There we go. Should have done that a long time ago. .5 nautical miles away. Fatigue builds up slowly over the duration of the trip. Weather and maintenance issues can add to it. It's like a slow grind of your cognitive level. This is brilliant. Such good commentary this evening. Oh dear, please go away. Not a job for anyone, no glamour. The glamour was all in the 60s, wasn't it? With the amazing planes, stewardesses, life of Riley. Respect. And we're still a bit high, aren't we? Yeah, very high. Let's slow down a bit and lower our altitude. Considering the Royal Air Force. Ooh, now the Royal Air Force have got their Voyagers, the A330s. Beautiful scenery. We're slowing down too much. Nice landing. Well, thank you. I didn't spill my beer. I would pay hundreds to fly an airliner for a few minutes to get paid anything flying one for hours. Keep in mind that the novelty wears off pretty quickly. See, that I don't believe. Strapping yourself into the plane for the flight that must be some form of euphoria. Thank you, Mimos. Much appreciated. Right, so we'll taxi down the end of the runway and off onto taxiway Kilo. Which Kilo kind of takes you off to the left and then round. There's no one here, so we'll go straight on and then off to the right. We'll leave our landing lights on because we're not going to blind anyone. There's no one else here and we get that extra bit of visibility. Guess we could turn our fuel pump off though. What the hey. Now even as a passenger, kind of the smile on your face when you're taking off like you're hurtling down a runway. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, never flown on an A380, I've never flown on a 777, I've flown on an A340, lots of A300 series, obviously EasyJet, Q400. And the 747, which was my very first flight as a passenger. So we can turn squat mode Charlie off, like so. We can continue our taxi. Oh, the other feeling is watching the sunrise or sunset. I mean, flying out from Bristol towards Edinburgh one October morning and watching the sunrise. The feeling was amazing. Right, the taxiway now veers off to the right, so we'll follow these blue lights. You fly a Piper Warrior in real life training for a PPL out of Elstree. Very good. Let me see if I can dig up a picture. Right, so here's our other friends that we're going to park near. Say friends, it's just computer modelled scenery. And stop. Parking brake on. Fuel pump off. Taxi lights off, landing lights off. Mags. And throttle back down. And engine off. Beacon light off. Flaps should have gone up ages ago. Occasionally I see commercial aircraft in the distance when cruising and it's so cool. From what I understand, you need to obviously pay for your own flight training and then stand obviously a rigorous interview to get picked to start is it a second officer in the UK and then work your way up. Lights, strobe, pitot heat, and there you have it, a VFR flight out of Bristol to Shoreham, and we went via Bournemouth, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. One of the features from P3D V3 is a little man. That seems like a great... let me see if this link works. Can you let me know? Go on then. You need permission. Request access. Your request for access has been sent. Oh look, if you're going to do a flight on Vatsim, do it tonight. You've got London Centre, London Control, London East, London North, London South. Heathrow and Gatwick. Oh. Why isn't it like that all the time? And this one, for a PPL it's around £170 for 1 hour. £170. It's asking me for permission, Mermoz, Rubbish Google Drive. Maybe you've got an email saying I've got access, have a look. Or I've asked for access even. Rubbish. So yeah, we'll wait for this picture. Let's have a look. Doing it now. Thank you. Look forward to this. See, we can kind of obviously walk without the man. Not quite the same. And you've got Shoreham Airport, which appeared in lots of TV things. One I remember was Poirot, where there was a murder on a flight, which was I think a DC-3 shuttle flight from France to Shoreham, where someone died, and Poirot was there. You get to see quite a lot of Shoreham. Right, we're just waiting to have a look at these pictures. Any joy, Murmurs? Let's read a little bit about Shoreham. So, founded in 1910, Shoreham is the oldest airport in the UK and the oldest purpose-built commercial airport in the world. It is now owned by Brighton City Airport Limited, and the 1930s Art Deco terminal building is listed. First World War, used by the Royal Flying Corps. Second World War, Spitfires, Hurricanes. The airport is used by privately owned light aircraft, flying schools, and light aircraft and helicopter maintenance and sales. A number of operators provide sightseeing and pleasure flights, including the experience of flying in two T-6 Harvard World War II training aircrafts. Lovely. Okay, yeah, let's have a look at these pictures. Oh, wow. Okay, that is something. Very good. Look at that. A sea of cloud, the sun. Very, very nice. No, thank you for sharing. Lovely pictures. Right, I'm going to say my goodbyes now. Thank you very, very much for all your follows and for joining me on this flight this evening. Alright, thank you, Mittens. I should be back online on Tuesday, so I hope you can join me then, and maybe an ad hoc flight in the week of something similar. If you've got any ideas, or if you want to fly with me and Stephen and Simon, let me know, and hope to see you all soon. Thanks very much for your